Danger is a reality, but fear is a choice. And when you realize that fear is a choice, you take control of your life and you decide if you go the fear or not. Because like I said, when you fear something, it'll come to you. You will unconsciously attract it until the moment you realize that what you've been fearing is actually very silly. You know, there's a lot of people who have fear for spiders, but a spider is this big and completely harmless. No,
Yeah, they got venom in them, just like the snake.
it bites you 20 times, you won't even feel it. So why should you fear spiders?
Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life radio, podcast, and television show. I am your host, Life Coach Myrna Young, and sitting in the guest chair today is Gerard Wouters, Taoist therapist. And Gerard and I are going to be talking on the topic, the Taoist philosophy, an introduction to a new way of living. Welcome, Gerard.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're very welcome. All right. Well, let me give you guys a brief introduction. Gerard Wouters is a Taoist therapist, author of 7 books. He's well known for many interviews on Dutch national TV. He's calling in today from Holland. His mission in life is to help people heal from mental issues in his 2-day workshops using storytelling. Gerard has been teaching people, 98% of them are women, for 28 years now, how to make life simple, happy, and successful in the Taoist way. Yes, as I am saying that, I'm imagining a simple life and simple things that you do or whatever. So I've got a vision. So let's get into it and see if my vision is correct. So let's start off by asking the question, what exactly is a Taoist philosophy?
Well, the Taoist philosophy is a very ancient, ancient way of living. Like it says, it's a philosophy. It's bending with life. In Taoism, we say, a tree always bends with the wind, and that's how he survives the storm. And that's what I teach people, to bend with life. And when they get a setback or something like that, I explain them how to decipher it so it becomes a message that you can work with. And again, bend with life.
Okay, all right. I like that. Another way of saying that is like, when I do my meditation, I'm always trying to flow like a river, which means that you let the river take you and you're not, rowing against it and upstream. All right. But okay, but I'm sure the philosophy is more than that, is it? Bend like a tree. Is there any more stuff that you want to share on what exactly is, if I were to get like a Taoist book or something, what are going to be some of the things in there?
Well, it explains all kinds of laws of nature.
Okay.
Yeah, there's all kinds of laws like gravity, but also in our behavior, there's all kinds of rules. And yeah, well, we don't learn that anymore. And that's why we get into trouble, start worrying, get the feeling that we're not good enough. Whatever we do, it doesn't matter. Step over our boundaries because we really want to have that appreciation from everybody. And in the meantime, we forget to appreciate ourselves.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So let's say that I'm living in a community. I mean, we need to give more than what. I mean, somebody is listening and they want to understand what exactly is Taoism. So let's say we're living in a community, because that's what I'm actually thinking, like the Mormon community here that we have, or even the pilgrim community or something. What are some of the rules if you're talking about this simple way of living? What are some of the rules and the laws? You can give me a couple of them, so the top ones, so people can
Well,
understand. Okay.
very well known is karma. What you do to another, you get back 3 times.
Okay. All
So
right. That's in
that
the Bible.
well, goes back in Buddhism as well, and a lot of things that are in the Bible and all kinds of other religious books come from Taoism, because Taoism is a lot older than all these religions. Taoism is always is about 3,000 years old. This philosophy, yeah.
Okay.
And one of the ground people is Lao Tse, and he was the archivar, how do you call it, the librarian of the emperor. So he was a very smart guy, and he knew everything about all kinds of life processes that people go through, and he could explain to people what they were doing wrong and how they could do it right, like
Okay.
in the rules of life. Yeah, like fear. Yeah, we all learn fear, but the problem is when you fear, you lose control of your life. And that's a rule that we should not break. And unfortunately, everybody does. And that's
Okay.
one of the things that I unlearn people. I unlearn the things, the behavior that prevents them from being happy and successful, like overthinking. Your mom says, you think about it before she says something. No, you don't. Because the first impression is always the best. And when you say something impulsively, it's 99% the truth. So why should you first think about it? The
Yeah.
some of
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. I mean, you're correct. All these, if you're saying Taoism was before the Bible or religion, because yeah, the Bible says, out of the mouth, the heart speaks. And that's why they tell you that when somebody says something and then apologize for it, because you're right, they said it impulsively, believe them because they actually really meant it, but then they didn't really want to say it, so they take it back. So, okay, yeah, I understand that. All right. So that brings me up to the question that I had here. Is Taoism a religion? Because when I was looking up online, people had that question. Is it a religion?
No, it's not. No, no. It's very, very familiar with Buddhism, but Buddhism has been transformed into some kind of religion. And what a lot of people don't understand is that a Buddha is chosen every so many years because Buddha doesn't have eternal life. You know, at the one point they die and they choose a new one because they keep reincarnating. Yeah. And the one they all worship, what a lot of people don't know, is the 14th. You know, there's a very famous story about Buddha being under an apple tree for 40 days, not eating, not drinking, trying to get enlightenment. And the moment an apple falls out of the tree, he's there. That's the 14th. And that's the one that's worshipped by everyone. But a lot of people don't understand that every time there's a new one because of the reincarnation. And we don't do that in Taoism. No, we don't really worship something, but um, we try to live by the source. Tao is the source of everything. And a lot of people would say that's a god, but
Right.
God is turned into some kind of person, and that's not working. You have a threesome, it's Tao, Tao, Yin Yang. Yeah. But Tao is the source of everything.
Okay. Yeah. God, universe. Yes. Consciousness. All that is source, right? Okay.
Collective consciousness, that's how you can see it.
Hmm.
Uh, I say to a lot of people, have you ever seen Star Wars? You know about the Force?
Right.
That's
Ah. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
how
Of course. Yeah, well, I'm not a Star Wars fan. That I've seen it like one time or something, but I know about the Force, and there's even something that we say on the 4th of July: "May the Force be with you."
yeah. Oh, no, about Star Wars and the Force, and that makes it a little less abstract.
Right, right. Yes, that's good. Okay. All right. So, you say that, you help people with mental health issues using Taoism. So, how does Taoist philosophy help people heal from mental health issues?
Well, like I said, I help them unlearn the behavior that prevents them from being happy and successful. I unlearn fear. I explain to them what is fear, why did we learn fear, and how do we do it the other way around? Because when I already told you that when we fear, we lose control of our life, and that's not how it should be. That's against the rules in Taoism. You are the one that should be in control of your life. And when you fear, unconsciously, you attract what you fear.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that I unlearn people. I've had an interview, or I already did 20 interviews until now after the National Publicity Summit. And there was one of the podcasters told me, yeah, I have a fear of snakes because I live in Colorado and we have huge snakes here. And I said, do you realize that a snake is almost blind? What? I said, yeah, when you meet a snake sees two tree stems, and that's your legs. And as long as you don't move your legs, the snake doesn't see you and will just move on. But the moment you move, he feels threatened and he will attack you.
Mhm.
But the snake is completely blind. That was
Well, it's the first time I heard that, but a lot of these animals, reptiles or whatever, has sixth sense. They don't even need to see you; they can feel you. So I mean, you still don't want to bump up with them if you're in the woods or someplace, or they come into your house. But I spent a lot of time talking about fear on this show and in my life. So the last conversation I had with somebody, we were talking about um I was watching, I give you an example. I was watching a documentary the other day where this woman um uh, in Puerto Rico was in a storm, and her house blew away and the place flooded, and she was afraid for her life and her with her daughters. They survived the storm, but she ended up with a very bad fear. I'm not sure if it's storms or what, that she was fearful. And what they did to help her with her fear was that they enrolled her in a first responder kind of first responder. It's not a class where she was responding to people that had emergencies, because they wanted her to face the fear, because they said it's when you face the fear, then it stops getting control over you. So how do you teach people to unlearn the fear? Give us an example of someone that you helped do that.
well, you know, fear is something that we learned ages ago, and it saved us from being eaten by huge animals that we lived in because we lived in the jungle at that time. But I don't know about you and your city out there, but I don't see bears and tigers on the streets anymore.
Right.
Not
Yeah, you
even
don't. Right. Right.
when you understand the source of how we learned fear and what the function was at that time, and realize that that function is no longer available, no longer here. Yeah, because we don't have wild animals in the streets. Yeah, oh, it's at best a dog. Now, trust me, I've been training dogs. No problem there. Yeah, a dog doesn't attack you just like that. Yeah, so
Mhm.
fear is something that was learned once, and it had a function at that time, but not in this time. At this time, it's being abused by some people, organizations, governments, call it whatever you want it, to control our lives. But you are the one that should be in control of your life. And there's a great movie with Will Smith and his real son, and it is about fear. It's Afterlife. I don't know if you've seen the film, but it's a great film. And the core message is overcome your fear. And Will Smith says something very important to his son, and that's something that I often say to people too. You know, danger is a reality, but fear is a choice. And when you realize that fear is a choice, you take control of your life and you decide if you go the fear or not. Because like I said, when you fear something, it'll come to you. You will unconsciously attract it until the moment you realize that what you've been fearing is actually very silly. You know, there's a lot of people who have fear for spiders, but a spider is this big and completely harmless. No,
Yeah, they got venom in them, just like the snake.
bite you 20 times, you won't even feel it. So why should you fear spiders?
Yeah, but we can always talk about it and laugh about the people that have unrealistic fears of, spiders and snakes and things like that. But, my son-in-law fears going over bridges. And I had this conversation with someone in the show, and he pointed out that because I thought he was fear of the bridge because, he thinks that the bridge might fall and he will, collapse and he will be in the water or something. And people that fear flying thinks that the plane is going to drop out of the sky and they're going to die. But he said something that was very, enlightening. He said that no, it's fearing control. You lose control or something. Is that what you see too?
Yeah. But control is an illusion.
Right.
Nobody's in control of their life. And thank God it is not, because when we would be in control, oh, really bad things would happen. Yeah.
Okay. So
That's
that's a way to work with it. You're not really in control anyway. So what are you afraid? Go with the, what did you call it? Bend with the tree. I like it. Go with the river.
Yeah.
That's good.
You know,
That's good.
we all have setbacks in life. Yeah. It's inevitable. But when we understand what it means, the message it's sending us, then it becomes a message that we can work with. We can
Give me an example of that. We're talking about mental health here. So mental health would be depression. Mental health would be, a whole bunch of things. So give me an example of how, give the last one that we talked about. We're not in control. It's true,
no.
right? We're not in control. Our timeline was set before we were born, and we don't know when we're going to die, whether it's going to be tomorrow, whenever. So you're correct. So if we accept that, then maybe we'll be happier. So give me an example of how this philosophy helps somebody heal mental health issues.
Let me give you an example. I once treated a woman at her house, and her house was about 100 yards from a train station. Can you imagine that? And she was very depressed and even suicidal. Yeah? And she lived 100 meters from a train station. So I told her, you know what? It's very easy for you to jump and throw yourself for a train, but let me warn you, you'll be back the next day. And your next life will be even worse. Because when you don't learn your lesson, it'll become worse, come back, until you learn your lesson. The next session that I came to her, she said, you know what? Last week, I went to the train station and I walked up to the train and I looked under the wheels and I decided, no, I'm not doing that again. Because she was abused, mentally, sexually, the whole 9 yards. And she decided, I'm not doing that again. And that's why she healed. She realized that she was in control and it's useless to throw yourself for a train because you'll be back the next day. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And do the whole life all over again. And even worse. Because like I said, when you don't learn your lesson, it becomes worse and worse and worse and worse until you realize this is a lesson. I have to learn the lesson, and then you won't be confronted with that anymore. You know, trust me, a lot of people who were suicidal. There's one on my website even, and she was has been treated by the regular health department for 7 years, and she was still depressed and suicidal. And after 4 sessions, whistling through life, very happy. And
okay. All right.
yeah,
I'm still trying to get it. So, the woman that lived by the train station, if she wanted to end her life, she
was
would
very
throw herself under the train.
low.
But let's say she didn't want to end her life. She just wanted to not be depressed anymore. What was it that she needed to do? Okay.
The basis of depression is overthinking and the feeling of not being good enough. And when you feel not good enough, you try to convince everybody around you that you are good enough. You step over your boundaries, and it doesn't work. You know, maybe you once, maybe once you bumped into somebody who just started talking to you, and you found it very annoying. Well, she was trying to prove and get your appreciation. And what did you do? I don't know you. I find you very irritating. And that's the circle, you know? When you try to prove yourself, other people will give you the feeling that you're not good enough because you are proving yourself. So it's a vicious circle. And when you break this vicious circle by understanding that you've learned this from your environment, and the problem is that your environment is all kind of people who have the same feeling. So what kind of signal can they give you? The signal of that you're not good enough. Because I'm not good enough, you're not good enough. But that's completely, you know, should be the other way around.
Okay. All right.
That's what I do. I break the circle and make them realize that everybody has a place in this world and everybody has his value. And you don't have to prove yourself because you are yourself.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And everybody has his place. You know, we can't all be CEOs. We can't all be psychologists, doctors, lawyers. But that doesn't mean you're less. Yeah. Because the cleaner has a very big function too, eh? Because if the cleaner doesn't clean your house or your company, then the CEO can go on because he doesn't work in that crap. So everybody has his value, but a lot of people don't realize that they have value. They try to get appreciation from the wrong people, and they should get appreciation from themselves. Realize I'm worth it, and what I do has a good function. You know, nothing wrong with being a cleaner. Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Well,
I want it
philosophy.
along them. No matter what they do, they always have the feeling that I'm not good enough. So I keep trying to prove myself that I am. Well, stop trying to prove yourself and be yourself. Yeah? It's always the other way around.
Yeah. Well, as a coach, I know that is the top thing that people come into coaching for, not being good enough. And you're right, they learn it from their environment. Something happened in their childhood or young adulthood, and they felt that they weren't good enough. But you also touched on something true that some people get their value from what they do, but what they do is not who they are. It's just the job that they do. In fact, one of my favorite movies, since we're talking about movies, one of my favorite movies is the movie Made in Manhattan, where this girl was a maid. The guy was a senator, you know the movie, right? And at the end of the movie, the guy said something very important. We may serve people, but we're not their servants. They're no better than us because you're the cleaning lady and he's a senator. He's no better than us, right? So yeah, that's a very, very good point. I'm getting goosebumps on it. But yeah, that's a very, very good point. The people to
Let me give you another example. I'm single, and when I go out, There's also always a woman who asks me, "What do you do for a living and how old are you?" And these are the two questions that I don't answer because they don't say jack shit about who I am.
Right.
Yeah. I have a crush on Charlize Theron, but not because she's a movie star, because of who she is. A woman behind the mask of the movie star, the generous woman, the giver. That's what I'm attracted to. I don't care about the movie star. So,
Right.
yeah.
You're right. We have to learn these things because a lot of people don't learn these things. They go through life, and I guess that's why they come back. They don't learn these things because they're all doing what you said just now, right? They're valuing people by what they do and how much money they have and things like that. Yes.
Yeah, but you know what? There's a lot of millionaires who are not happy.
Oh, we know that.
Yeah. And why not? Why not? Because they are all afraid of losing their money. And at the end of the day, they do. Yeah. There was a Dutch guy, a millionaire, and he had a very, very smart line. He says, you know, money doesn't make you happy, but it gives you a very comfortable way. Sorry, it gives you a very comfortable way to be unhappy.
Oh, okay. I never heard that. I never heard that one, but I've heard even today someone was on Instagram with a post that says, money doesn't buy you happiness, but it buys you, you know, it can buy you stuff. I mean, anyway, without it, I've heard that so many ways before. Money doesn't buy you happiness, but at least buys, it's better to have it than not have it because it could buy you things. In this world, money is a currency and you need it to buy stuff. You need it to live, right? But you're right. It doesn't, you can't worship it. It doesn't
That's
buy
a lot.
right.
That's a very good film at this moment with a beautiful lady, Dakota Johnson, and it's called Materialists.
Okay. I like Dakota.
You
I don't
know,
think I've seen it.
have you ever seen the film?
I don't think I've seen it.
Um, at one point, she has the choice between a multimillionaire and a guy who is poor. But at one point, she understands because she's dating the millionaire, and she tells, "Yeah, you're your unicorn, and why you're dating me? You know, because I'm this and I'm that and I'm that and that youth and poor and blah 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 blah." And at one moment, she realizes, you know what? I am dating you, but I love you. So she ends the relationship with him, and she goes back to the poor guy who is really in love with her. Yeah, and he'll do anything for her, even he doesn't have any money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the film.
A lot of people that are poor are much better for you because I remember one of my boyfriends told me, he says, I hope you believe that I love you because I don't have anything else to give you. And he was poor. And that was a statement that I always remember. Right. Yes. So, okay. All right. So I'm understanding now how your principles help with people heal from mental health issues is just um uh, changing their mindset, which is basically what this show is about. Transforming your mind, transforming your mindset. Look at things a little differently. One of the things that I say as a coach is that change the way you look at a thing and the thing you look up will change. I don't say that. It came from Dr. Dwayne Dwyer, but it's one of the principles that I live by. So I understand now what you're doing is you reprogramming, you're rewiring, and you're having people look at things from a simple way. So I like that. Right. So
And stop thinking all day because thinking we created to learn new things, to understand new things, and to control new things, like learning to drive a car. But you don't learn how to drive a car every day of the year. You learn it once, and then it becomes an automatism. And that's how thinking should be. So, 99% of the things we think about every day is all the things that we do already every day. So why think about it? Every day you need to breathe, you need to eat, you need to food, you need to work, you need to drive your car, you need to clean. Why think about it? Because you are doing this for the past 20, 30, 40 years. And you've been doing it every day. So why think? And when you stop this overthinking, you make room for enjoying. And you will see a lot more happening around you. You know, I'm specialized in facial expressions and body language. And sometimes when I see somebody, I say something to them and they are flabbergasted that I see that. Yeah, well, I see it because I don't have to think. I see, I don't think. When you don't think, you can enjoy, you will see 200% more happening around you. Huh?
Okay.
Thinking, you should be thinking 1% a day, because 1% a day we learn new things, we understand new things, and we control new things. 1% a day. Do you think 24 minutes a day? I don't think so.
All right.
That's what I learn people.
Yes. Okay.
When they stop thinking, they create an emptiness inside them, but from emptiness you can create. In Taoism we learn, you know, a building has 4 walls, but what is happening inside the walls, that is what gives the walls a function. When you put desks inside these 4 walls, it becomes an office. When you put beds and machines in it, it becomes a hospital. Yeah. And when you put a playground in it, you know, it becomes a enjoyment place for children. But the walls don't change. What's inside, that is what changes. Yeah. And that's what gives the building a function. Like a bucket, you know, you can put water in the bucket and, you know, to clean stuff. But my little girl puts her Lego in it. But the bucket doesn't change. Only what's inside the bucket changes.
Okay. And how does that equate to us as humans? How do we parlay that into the human experience?
When you create an emptiness inside, you create room to create. You know, make room to create.
Got you. Yeah? Then you can change the function. Is that what you're saying?
You can change everything from the end. I once had a doctor under my treatment. And after the treatment, we stayed in contact. And at one moment, he invited me for lunch. And he said, at some moment, he said, you know, I feel such an emptiness inside the last weeks, months. And I don't like it. And I said, do you realize that there are hundreds of thousands of monks that meditate 24/7 a day to create what you are feeling? And he says, shit, I never thought of it that way. Yeah, but you should. Yeah, that's the present I gave you. The emptiness, the in peace. And realize that a lot of people are meditating all day to create it, and you just got it as a present from me. After you.
Okay.
So
right. I get that. I get that being right.
Afraid of the emptiness.
Yes.
Yeah. They're very afraid of the emptiness. But they don't realize that from emptiness.
Yeah, because people always need to fill it up with something. I get you. I get you.
And that's one of the principles of Taoism. Create emptiness. From emptiness, you can create anything you want. That's what they call the flow.
I like it. I like it. All right. So, what are the Taoist principles that helps us with positiveness in the modern day human life?
Well, like I said about setbacks, I mean, we all get setbacks, but when I teach you how to decipher them, it becomes a message that you can make other choices. And when you make that other choice, you will see that you'll get back in the flow again. And your life changes into positive. Yeah?
Right. Yeah, because you want to be in the flow. Yeah, that's a very important thing to be in the flow.
But what they don't realize that the setback is a message from Tao that you're doing something wrong or you're walking a path that's not right for you.
Mhm.
And when you realize how to decipher this, and this is something that I teach people during the workshops, I give 2-day workshops, healing workshops. And that's one thing that I explain how to decipher that. And I give all kinds of examples with it so that people realize that a setback is a message. And when you understand the message, you can make better choices and you'll get back into the flow without resistance. Because when you feel resistance, there's something happening in your life that's not correct for you. Yeah. It's not
Yeah.
a, it's
Well,
not,
I agree with that. I agree with that because if you're not in alignment and you're going away from your purpose and things like that, then yeah, I agree with that. So almost everything you're saying, it's part of my philosophy as well, right? Mhm.
we need to de-learn a lot of things.
Mhm.
How, like I said, to sometimes to people, having a bad youth and bad parents doesn't make you a bad parent. It's the lesson you need to learn that you don't do like they do.
Yeah, but it's interesting. A lot of people start off by saying, I'm not going to be like my parents, and then they end up being like their parents. How isn't explain that?
But they're afraid that they are going to be their parents. Of the, they will be, you know.
Yeah, actually, I just remember that because you said whatever you're afraid of, you attract. Yeah, I guess that's what happens. Yep,
But learn the lesson, you know. And a bad youth is not no excuse to become a criminal, you know.
of course not.
Maybe you should be thankful of having a bad youth because that shows you how not to do it. You know, I've had a bad youth too. Yeah, I was abused by my dad and never appreciated. Now look who I am, where I am.
How long did it take you to learn that lesson?
I have a 7-year-old daughter, and he says, "You're the sweetest dad in the world."
Yeah, but how long did it take you to learn that lesson? A lot of people learn the lessons, but after they've gone through the prison sentence and they've gone through and they change in prison or something, or how long did it take you to learn the lesson, not to
Well,
repeat? Mm,
that's that's why officially why puberty is for, to de-learn what doesn't fit you. But the problem is here because we keep thinking all day. We skip our puberty, and puberty is meant to de-learn all kinds of things that are not right for you. You know, my dad, he was a very narcissistic guy, and he beat us all up. And that's what I de-learned because I realized this is not okay. You know, this doesn't feel right for me. So I'm the sweetest dad in the world. Yeah, but I still raise my kid. There are rules. She doesn't get to do anything, everything. There are rules, but she still thinks I'm the sweetest dad in the world. And I don't have to hit her. I only have to warn her. And that's it. You know? And I'm the proof of daily proof that you don't have to become your parents.
yeah.
Because that is exactly the lesson. Yeah. Like women who are abused by their dad often attract a partner who will do the same.
Yeah.
But that's the lesson. The lesson is don't take that shit anymore from anybody. Yeah. Realize your value and don't take that from anybody. And as soon as you learn that lesson, you will attract completely different partners because you're in control of your life. And when you learn your lesson, yeah, you will see that life changes in positive.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. But almost everything takes work. So I see what you mean. If you don't do the work, then you will continue doing the same thing over and over again, and attracting the same partners all over again, and you've got a pattern, right? But
Yes, sir.
yes,
I always tell people, love is a work in progress. It never stops
yeah,
because when it stops, the relationship stops. Yeah. And in relationships, you have 3 lives. And people are very confused when I tell them, when you have a relationship with children, you have 3 lives. You have your own life, yeah. You have your life with your woman, with your partner, and you have a family life. But when you neglect one of the 3, the rest will go.
Yeah.
Never
Feed off the other. Right.
of the 3 lives, because when you neglect one of the 3 lives, you lose the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. That's a good lesson for a lot of men. Because they go and neglect their family for work and or whatever they do it for, and then the whole thing crumbles, right?
Let me correct you.
Mhm.
Let me correct you. I say something, I say a lot of women, I tell a lot of women, there's a huge difference between a guy and a man. Yeah. And fortunately, hardly anybody realize it, is that in our language, there are some words that very reflect the difference. And the most important one is manners. And it's not gentle guy, it is gentle man.
Man, right. Okay.
And it's romantic.
Right. Okay.
Yeah? So there's a huge difference between guys and men. Guys don't want to work, men will. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Guys always put themselves first, and you're last. A man will put you first. That's the difference. Yeah? And guys don't want to work. They just want their beer, their football on TV, newspaper.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, get it. I don't like football. I don't read papers. I just want to enjoy my time with you, when you're my partner.
Right.
That's to me.
Right. That's good. That's good. I mean, I had the same conversation on the show with a guy that was teaching women how to find men. It was, it was a love coach. And that's what he was talking about. The difference between, he called them boys, between a boy and a man. So it's the same thing you're saying. You're at least calling them guys and not boys. But yeah. But where I was going with that is in the olden days, it's not so prevalent now, but in the olden days, the men would leave home and go to work, and then they missed the children growing up and all that. I wouldn't say that they were boys, but they just put their careers first. And then, the whole family life, the kids. Yeah, I was agreeing with you about if you
They're guys.
one, then the whole thing crumbles, because it did. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
When you have a family, you have 3 different lives.
Right.
And when you neglect one of them, the rest will go to shit.
Whole
Go to hell.
crumbles, right? Yes. So I agree with that.
People realize that.
Yeah.
And love is a work in progress. And it always will be a work in progress.
Yeah, it always means you got to put into work. Yes, I agree. I agree.
Your relation ends.
Yeah.
And there's one problem with women. They try to change their man. Well, let me tell you one thing. When you try to change your man, you lose the guy you fell in love with.
Okay. So you're trying to say they fell in love with the broken man? And if they try to change him, they don't really want the new changed man? Is that what you're saying?
Well, most women are attracted to the popular guy.
Yes.
Yeah, the guy with the blah, 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 blah.
Playboy, right? The playboy, it's true.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what I say?
Playboy, right?
You know what I
Right.
say? Forget it and take the one beside him. Because the one beside him doesn't have to prove himself.
Right.
With the blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But it's true. It's true. But they never want that one because they're going for attractiveness, and the playboy maybe knows how to treat them better for a minute, and then afterward, he moves on to something else, and they're left with a broken heart. But you're very right. I'm a woman, and I know that is very true.
The problem is that popular guy demands all the attention, and the guy who's not the popular guy will give you all the attention.
Attention. Oh, yeah.
That's the difference.
They all know that they shouldn't, but Yeah.
because I realized that in America, there's 3 times more single women with children than in the rest of the world. And that's a big problem.
Yes. Yes.
So maybe it's about time.
Probably because we have a lot of boys here, or gentlemen and not men.
Well, funny thing.
Probably the truth.
Well, this subject made me very curious. So I took a few courses from these, Playboy coaches, and call them how you want them. And they all say the same thing. They say, you have to hit on 100 women to sleep with 5. And they all say the same, yeah? Doesn't matter what course you take, they all say the same. And at the 3rd course that I heard this, it started to piss me off a little. So I asked the guy, you know what? When I hit 100 women and I sleep with 5, it's okay. But when am I going to meet the right one? And they don't have an answer. Bing.
Wow. Wow. So they're even telling you that you sleep with 5, but who's going to be your wife? I mean, from the 5, how you break?
When you hit on 100 women, you'll be gone for 2 years and you will sleep with 5, but you'll never find the right one.
Right. Yeah.
Because to find the right
It's got to
one,
be a different solution.
yeah. Well, the solution is facial expressions and body language. And I have a course.
Mhm.
Finding the right one, finding Mr. Right or Mrs. Right. And it's all about facial expressions and body language.
Nice.
Yeah. And I've proved it. I was in a club once and I was on the side of the dance floor. And in front of me, there was a young guy and a young woman. And the guy was trying to hit on her for about 45 minutes or so. And completely useless. The woman was not interested. And her body language said it all, but he just didn't get it.
I know. Yeah, they're oblivious.
One moment, a young woman, 21 years old, comes up to me, introduces herself, and within 5 seconds we started kissing. And he was completely flabbergasted. He says, "What are you doing?" I said, sometimes you don't have to talk, you have to kiss. Yeah. It's all about body language. When you understand body language, you don't have to prove how good you are towards her, because she will know. She will see.
Yeah. The silent aura, the silent message that people don't know that they have, but it's how we communicate all the time. Yes.
Especially without the words.
Right. Yes. It's how we communicate all the time.
Language, it's the most important thing, because when you look at a partner or that's why when I go out, I always stand on the side, the edge of the dance floor, because I want to find that look. Because when I find that look, I don't have to, prove myself, tell her how great man I am, blah, 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 blah. I just walk up to her and I kiss her.
Okay.
We start dancing or whatever. Words are so much overrated.
And thinking is so much overrated, right? So
yeah. All about body language and facial expressions.
Yeah. Well,
when you know what you're looking for, when you know what look you are looking for, words are obsolete.
Again, that's something you got to learn, because most people don't know how to use that. They can pick up the non-interested people, but they don't know how to choose a partner from that. Right.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I have a course for men. Okay. Perfect woman, and without hitting 100 women, because it's just a waste of time. It's a wrong way. Because when your attitude is, I have to date 100 women
to sleep with 5. Wow. That's a total time waster.
Because your aura already shows the wrong signal.
Yes. It's
Right. Not even after 10 years of dating women. But when you start with the right attitude, I want to find the right one. It won't take years.
Mm.
Just wait and find the look, because the look says everything.
Mm.
When a woman is interested, she will look at you at a certain way.
Yeah.
Lynn,
It's
you don't,
true. It's
you
true.
don't need 100 women. Just walk up to her and you'll see, okay, we're done. You know,
Yes. Right.
life is
Right.
easy. People make it complicated. That's the problem. And that's
Yes.
what I learn.
Okay.
I learn people to
All
stop
right.
making
Well,
it so
we're running out of time, so let's talk about your workshops. Tell our listeners about your workshops, how they can get in touch with you, your website, what you teach in the workshops, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, I have a manager, a marketing manager, who is going to help me create a new website. It's probably called the Taoist way, but we'll see. It's not done yet. It will be done when when you broadcast this. And I will give 2-day healing workshops. And one of the funny things in my workshop is you don't have to tell what problems you have. You don't have to say anything, because I will explain all the life processes that you go through and make you understand and give you the insights in how to do it a different way and the Taoist way to make your life simple, happy, and successful. Because, like I said, people make their life so complicated, but that doesn't make you happy.
Right.
When you keep it simple, you will see that you will stay in the flow and you'll be happy and successful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. I agree.
That's what I teach people during the workshops. Yeah.
Everything that we've talked about or we've touched on, I can give my stamp of approval on it because I know that it works as a coach. So, all right. So yeah, by the time that this episode airs, your website is thetaoistway.com. And you're in Holland, so I'm assuming these courses are online.
Online, but also offline. I will come to the US too.
Oh, okay. All right.
There's an option. The new website will give you all the options.
All the options. Okay.
Because there's a lot more. You can get one-on-one coaching and the Taoist way, of course. But there's a lot of options. But there will be a new website, and I think it will be the Taoist way.
Okay. All right. Well, send it to www.there, and I will put it in the show notes.
You can always find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and there you will find the new website.
And what's your handles? Your name or what?
Wouters Gerard is on Instagram. Wouters.Gerard. It's Instagram, and I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, the whole 9 yards, everywhere. So, YouTube channel too. So when this recording will be broadcasted, I hope you will send me the video recording so I can share it on YouTube. I have a channel too.
Beautiful. All right. Well, listen, it's been a very interesting and enlightening conversation with you, Gerard. Thank you for introducing us to the Taoist way. Yeah, I came out with a couple of aha moments, things that you say a little differently, but I know that it's the way to work in this life. So all right, guys. So listen, I thank you for tuning into this week's episode. Check out Gerard's website, the link will be in the show notes. And follow him on YouTube as well as social media so that you can learn to start thinking differently and doing differently. And if there's one thing that he can teach you is how to release fear and how to, help with your mental health, which is it's the big thing, right? So, all right, Gerard. Right. All right. And yes, let's talk about your book. I see the book in the background there. What's it called?
How to Make Life Simple, Happy, and Successful, the Taoist Way.
Okay.
and subtitle An Introduction to a New Way of Living, and that's what it is. So they can buy the book on Amazon. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That wasn't in your bio. So, yeah, I'll also link out to your book so that people can, they can start there. And just read the book. Right? Yes.
By the time you will broadcast this, the new website will be there and I will give it to you.
Right. Okay.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, all right. Well, listen, thank you guys for tuning in. Gerard, thank you for being on the show. And if this episode resonated with you or you found it inspiring, definitely leave a comment and share it with your friends. All right. Thanks again for tuning in. Until next time, namaste.